Happy 2016, everyone. I hope you enjoyed your Christmas and your New Year's Eve and your New Year's and our little break. And now we are back together again talking about the power of a praying wife. And we're just going to jump right into chapter 13, which is his trials. And as I was preparing for this particular lesson, and really just thinking about the new year ahead too, I was just reminded of how challenging the life of a Christian may seem at times. You know, we're expected to do things like love our enemies and forgive people that have really wronged us. And now we're reading in this chapter that we're also supposed to count it all joy when we face trials. And those things are so seemingly impossible until we remember that we have the same power in us that raised Christ Jesus from the dead. So this stuff is possible. So Stormie reminds us, and it's something we all know, that, everyone goes through hard times. And sometimes our prayers can help us to avoid those hard times. Yay. And sometimes they don't. So maybe your husband right now is in a challenging season. Stormie says that prayer can help him maintain a positive outlook of gratitude, hope, patience, and peace in the midst of it, and keep him from reaping the penalty of a wrong response. I can remember Lance and I going through 2 different seasons of unemployment where he was without a job. The first time I was completely worried and anxious, and I was definitely not counting it all joy. And of course that impacted him. The second time, we just both found ourselves really in this really sweet place of trust where we just knew God was going to take care of this. And he was going to do it in the right time, in the right way. And sure enough, 6 months later, God provided Lance with a great job. So here's where we can see how our prayers may not change the circumstances immediately, but they can change us and how we respond to them. Another great quote by Stormie in this chapter was, "Trials can be a purifying fire and a cleansing water. You don't want your husband to get burned or drowned. You want him to get refined and renewed." Several years ago, my cousin Ashley's husband, Steve, was diagnosed with cancer. And I can remember his declaration at the time of his diagnosis. And it was, "I don't want to waste my cancer." He knew that there was a purpose beyond what he was going through. And he was determined to live out that purpose. And he did. A trial can really be the making or breaking of a man. So we can pray Psalms 37 verse 24 over the men in our lives. "Though he fall, he shall not be utterly cast down, for the Lord upholds him with his hand." And I love the picture of that, of God just having us in the palm of his hand. He says he will never leave us or forsake us. Chapter 14 was discussing his integrity. One definition of integrity describes it like this: it is a steadfast adherence to moral and ethical principles. Stormie's version for her husband says when he is placed in a possibly compromising situation, he will continue to stand strong in what he believes. And I couldn't help but think back to the Super Bowl, a Super Bowl party we went to back in February last year. And if you're a Seahawks fan, you may already be cringing at this. But my nephew Joshua is a huge Patriots fan. Pretty much since he even knew what a football was, he has been a Patriots fan. So at this party, there were all Seahawks fan and one Patriots fan, and that was him. And they weren't just cheering like in the room. They were literally around him in a circle yelling in his ear. And he just really just stood firm to what he believed. And we all know how that game turned out. So, that may not be like the best picture of integrity, but you get the point that I'm saying. There's going to be times where our husbands may feel outnumbered and they may feel weak. And Stormie tells us that our prayers can help fight the enemy and can help shield him from anything that causes him to doubt and waver, and give him the strength to do what's right even when no one is looking, and even when there are Seahawks fans screaming in your ear. It can be done. So next week, we will talk about chapters 15 and 16. I'd love to hear what you learned about chapter 13 and 14. So make sure you comment. You guys have a great first week of 2016, and we'll catch up next week. God bless you.